Okay, you know what? I just gotta get this out of my system because I am pretty dang happy with Horizon Forbidden West, but there is just one thing that does super annoy me. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and I just finished watching the latest State of Play. These are like PlayStation's Nintendo Directs. Now, this one specifically has been important because we're getting closer to E3, and this year we know that Sony is not showing up. Since Sony is not going to E3, they're trying to basically pack these next couple weeks with lots of their biggest announcements, promises, and advertisements as to why you and I should be happy about owning a PlayStation 5. Well, today we got 14 minutes of new gameplay all about Horizon Forbidden West, which is of course the gigantic sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Now let me just say this, I am extremely excited for Forbidden West. One of my very favorite PlayStation 4 games is Zero Dawn, but they just left out a release date. This huge set of gameplay, the game seems incredibly finished, very polished, but even after this gigantic tease, we still have no information as to when it's coming out. Not a date, not a day, not a month, not even a year. We have no idea when Forbidden West is actually coming out. And to me, this is a disappointment because obviously I at least want to play it. I want a demo. I want to freaking sit down with this game ASAP to have another gigantic game on my PlayStation 5. You know, a subscriber was actually talking to me on Instagram this morning and they said, Max, I bought a PlayStation 5. I'm enjoying playing some PlayStation 4 games on it, but I wish I had some more PlayStation 5 exclusives. And I feel like this could have been a real freaking banger to just slap a date of September, October, or something. But I'm being a bit of a negative Nancy. Let's talk about the positives, because the 14 minutes of gameplay we saw was incredibly impressive. I mean, I was literally just sitting there with my jaw on the floor for this entire freaking thing, because this is a just evolution of the original game. So the biggest thing that definitely jumped out to me right from the start is definitely the graphics. There's no way to get around this. One of the new mechanics they have now is underwater combat. It seems like you can stealth around, sneak, go into underwater IV and stuff, and during this, it is completely stellar how much they're managing to get just crazy amounts of frame rates and resolution. So even this is a compressed as hell live stream broadcast from Sony headquarters to my computer, and even still, it managed to just kind of impress me to the visual fidelity they're managing to get. It seems like there's been rumors about the fact that Sony has been giving out the dev kits to the PlayStation 5 for the last like year and a half, 2 years, whatever like that. This seems like Guerrilla Games definitely had one of the prototype PlayStation 5 dev kits because this looks incredibly crisp. But going past just general graphics, let's talk about the fact that they showed off a lot of new monsters. So in case you never played the original Horizon, the major element that makes it so interesting is that this takes place 1,000 years in the future, and in this, humanity is no longer at the top of the food chain. Instead, there are gigantic robotic dinosaurs, or like mechanical beasties that are like things that are basically like evil facsimiles of creatures that used to be alive. A huge woolly mammoth, dinosaur freaking style alligators and stuff, but made of metal. Think of it as like Wolverine's steroids, but for random wildlife. And it makes for some very interesting combat. And I have to say, the new design, these new monsters just look fantastic in general, but I'm most curious how we're going to fight them. In this trailer, they actually teased a bunch of new devices, like this weird laser parachute that allows you to climb up surfaces very quickly, and then once you're up there, glide down to seemingly sneak around, because stealth was a pretty big element of the original Horizon Zero Dawn, so this ability to quickly traverse the battlefield if there's any sorts of elevation, that seems to be very attention grabbing. But there's also things like an AoE stun attack now, where you can actually attach what's basically a flashbang grenade onto your spear and detonate it to push enemies back, or maybe even like fry the circuits of some of these mechanical beasties. That stuff definitely seems extremely good, especially because these new monsters seem much more dangerous than the original. Like, the thing that kind of grabbed out to my attention was definitely the fact that Aloy this time around is much faster than she was at the beginning of this game. Like, I really like Horizon Zero Dawn, but a lot of times when it comes to these open world games, you have to start off so incredibly weak. Like, in order to try and motivate the player to explore, to do side quests, to find extra collectibles and stuff, you make it so that they start out very low level and very without resources. And during the course of the game, of course, you upgrade, you level up, you get better for combat. Well, starting off, obviously, in Horizon Zero Dawn 2, it seems like we're keeping the strongest version of Aloy. Like, she is absolutely wrecking everything around her, slitting throats, jumping out of bushes, uppercutting people people like it's freaking Shoryuken time and freaking Street Fighter, I am definitely down for that. A stronger character means you can have stronger enemies, which of course just makes the combat a lot more fun. Now, something that did kind of jump out to me as strange, but it may have just been in this demo version of the game itself, is the fact that it seems like things have more of an Uncharted vibe. And what I mean by that is that I completely love Uncharted, but let's face it, they're very, very focused. It is almost a corridor shooter. It's a bunch of like bright, flashy mechanics, and the game is constantly trying to subtly push you to the next giant set piece. You know, it wants to keep you motivated and keep you walking over that next hill to see the next interactive cutscene, right? Well, this kind of had that feeling where in the original Horizon Zero Dawn, things were very, very opened up. If you wanted to try and fight an enemy in the middle of an empty field, you could set traps, you could ambush them, you could do all sorts of stuff. But in this demo, things were definitely much more directed. Now, this could just be extra scripted to show like the most visually appealing version of this game, and this happens a lot. A lot of times they call it the vertical slice. You take an enemy from Zone 3, you put them into Zone 2 because it has good flowers, and you get like the gun from Zone 5. It makes it where it gives you like this impossibly perfect version of the game to show off and obviously to sell copies of it. But my thought is that even thinking of that, this still seems to be more structured towards storytelling and towards having those crazy like oh heck moments that didn't really exist in the first game. But to me, that is pretty cool. I'm definitely down for a lot of the stuff shown in this demo. Like 14 minutes of this, it seems like it's going to be also more character based. One of the things in the first game that I kind of didn't like at times was the fact that Aloy is just such an outcast that even as you're going among the tribes, trading, conversing, doing side quests and stuff, everybody was kind of a jerk to you, and that just kind of got very boring very fast, because after a while I'm like, okay, yep, I'm an outsider, yep, I suck, oh. And so in this game, the fact that now we're playing it in San Francisco, obviously we're in the Forbidden West, we've completely crossed the country or whatever, it seems like these tribes are more accepting because now she has friends, she has people that she talks to in this demo that look pretty good. Hopefully this continues. I would like if she actually was able to form alliances or build up reputations or something. Sometimes I feel like the best way of kind of explaining a world is in the casual conversations between the characters that already live in it. I'm very curious to see what direction they end up taking this, because right now, even from this 14-minute slice, I'm definitely way more on board with it. Before this, the first thing we saw for Horizon was basically just little tiny teases. Forbidden West was practically just a logo. It was like a PNG file. So the fact that we now actually see the gameplay, the combats, the fact that this is definitely going to be bigger, better, and a heck of a lot faster than the first game, I'm definitely on board for that. But I still wish we managed to see even a release window would have been really, really nice. The only other criticism I have of this like demo they showed off is that the sound design was incredibly strange. A lot of times like there was no proper footprint sounds. She did a like scaling and stuff, climbing things. You didn't hear that typical like gripping sounds that a lot of modern games have. There was like a weird thinness, but maybe they just turned up the background music too much and it kind of drowned it out. I mean, this game's probably coming out in months and months and months, so they have time to fix it. They have time to polish up those last little tweaks. But what did you guys think? Did you get a chance to watch the Horizon Forbidden West gameplay trailer? I think it looks fantastic. And do you think that they're just trying to delay the announcement of a release date until after we get Ratchet & Clank? It seems like a lot of PlayStation 5 games so far have been selling incredibly well, so I think that perhaps this is just a strategy by Sony to not take from their own pockets. They tell you the release date, they release that game, they start showing the next game, they give you a release date, they release that game. It is the cycle to make it where nobody's ever tripping over their own hype. But I guess we're going to know more soon. Hopefully, I guess we'll see. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. You know what? I saw some people commenting, you like my gigantic Buster Sword? Look at this. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, it's my gigantic Buster Sword. This is the good life, you know? Sometimes you just gotta have your Buster Sword ready for all the haters in the comments. No, okay, I'm done. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.